Yeah, what's up? This your boy Derek Branch here, Strike7Sports.com. This is another episode of Strike Seven Sports Podcast. I'm joined with my co-host Brian Botter and Leo DeSeabear. This is another episode of Strike Seven Sports Podcast. All right, so we open things up first on the show with Tom Brady and the latest reports that have just been swirling since I would say last month, but things start to heat up every time there's a loss. Every time that Tampa Bay loses, there seems to be a story that comes out about him being frustrated with the coach staff in Tampa Bay and how things are being ran. Um, Now that Bruce Arians has is not longer the head coach. And the latest loss was to the San Francisco 49ers, which was just a 35-7 beatdown from Mr. Irrelevant and the rest of the Niners, Brock Purdy. And a story that came out maybe it was Sunday night, I believe, on Monday morning, stating that everything is on the table for Tom Brady right now. After this season, come back to the Bucks, retire, go to another team, the whole 9 yards. So I just want to ask y'all, like, an estimation, a guess of where he ends up next.
Leo, you can take this one first.
Uh, my best prediction is that Tom Brady will end back up on the Tampa Bay Bucks next season. It's the serious opportunity he'll have. It's the best probably structurized where he's at right now. Yes, he might quote unquote he might see grass on a green on the other side of another team, but do you really want to go start learning another playbook? Do you have to go learn be around another group of guys? And I know he's Tom Brady's and he can bring his own crew of guys, but hey, why even though this season hasn't gone well, it's a lot of that you can be attributed to injuries and also just have had this season like this year's defense has been sort of decimated with like getting decimated by like you said was outplayed by Brock Purdy. It looked like he got outplayed by Brock Purdy, but the defense was awful too. So and also I think he go back to Tampa Bay because it's the easiest path to a division championship. Like with all due respect to the other three teams in New Orleans, Carolina, and
Carolina.
Atlanta,
Yeah.
there's not really who is the team that you could say that they're a serious threat next season to go and take the crown from the Buccaneers, assuming they win the division. So from a winning standpoint and from I think from a structural standpoint, it'll make sense for him to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer next year.
I've been thinking about this. This is a really interesting decision he'll have. Um, I think it's more likely he's not with the Bucks next year. I just think he feels like this team has run its course. He may want a new challenge, whether he retires or plays with another team. That's what I'm not sure about. But I think the Raiders are a possibility. The 49ers are a possibility, depending on how if the card what the changes the Cardinals make. I could see that being a possibility for 1 year. Um, there are a
The
lot of
Cardinals?
yeah, yeah. As crazy as that seems, if you they'll have to like give him a few more pieces, but that team isn't as bad as they seem. And Kyler Murray, I'll be stunned if he plays any next year. I would. But not only just the time of the injury, the timing of the surgery. He's having it after Christmas, and so I think someone could go there. Probably won't be someone as big as Tom Brady, but someone could go there and be a bridge gap for a year. I could see that happening. So it's going to be interesting what Tom Brady decides to do, but he'll have plenty of suitors.
You think so? Arizona, I mean, who's the coach?
What if he and Sean Payton reunite there? Yeah, I mean, that's probably like one of the least likely scenarios to happen. I just thought it's something I just thought of because Kyler Murray is going to be out for an entire year. They'll
Yeah.
need a quarterback, and so that's the reason why I brought that up. Uh,
Well,
yeah,
go ahead.
I was just saying, yeah, that's a fair point. Why Arizona would be a possibility. You're right about that.
That's for me. I don't think he's coming back to Tampa Bay, man. He just looks. This is the most I've ever seen Brady look like not interested, in like the team, man. It just this is the same team that he drove for 5,000 yards with last year and was considered an MVP candidate. And like they're just not on the same page. Like him and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, they're just not on the same page. They can't run the football. The defense is like number like top 8 in total defense and like ranked fifth in points allowed. And it just those it's the stuff like little like the stats are deceiving. It's just it depends on who they play. That the teams can move the football on them. And people have been saying that maybe it was a bad idea to let. Well, allegedly he let to force Bruce Arians out. We don't know yet, but I don't think you can put this on bright on that boy then Todd Bowles and Leftwich, man. Cause I've been hearing that Leftwich could be going after this year, man. But I don't agree with that. I don't think this is all on them, man. It just I think Brady going away in the off season, well, during training camp, threw off the timing, with that offense. Cause they don't they're just not blowing nobody out like they were last year, man. Nobody. Like every game, like pretty much every game that they won this year as came down to the wire. You know, Brady having it last, he marching them down to a touchdown. Other than that, man, if they can't keep it close, they get blown out. Plain and simple. But for teams, I think you gotta look at the Raiders. You gotta look because Josh McDaniels, because he knows Josh McDaniels. You got the Sean Payton situation where he can go to a team like the Saints if he came back, even though I'm 99% sure that Payton is not coming back to the Saints. He could go to the Giants. He could go to the New York Giants. Who else out there? 49ers. But I'm the 49ers. I'm like, I don't know if I would want Brady, because look what I got now. You know what I'm saying? With Brock Purdy, Jimmy Garoppolo. You just got it's a good problem to have out there. But he go to Giants, the Raiders, the Jets. Um, I don't know the Titans. I mean, I would say the Titans, but I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know if he wants to do that work. Be around Brady. Well, that's like being with Belichick again with no weapons. You know what I'm saying? But I think this guy put as well. He goes to a new team and he recruits DeAndre Hopkins to join him. Like he could go to the Jets. I can see him going to the Jets and recruiting DeAndre Hopkins to force a trade to go to the Jets. And you have Garrett Wilson, DeAndre Hopkins. What's the running back's name? Brees Hall, CJ Osman, the tight end. That's a good roster, man. If you really look at it, what y'all think?
Well, I think that I agree with you on a lot of those places. Another type place that he could go to is and it's highly unlikely, but not impossible. The New England Patriots. I think that it's a possibility. It's not unlikely possibility, but I could see it. It wouldn't be surprising if he re-signed if he went back to the Patriots, and
Got
maybe
50 million cap space.
yeah, but he's not making that much anyways though.
Yeah,
So I would say the Patriots are one. Like y'all said, you said the Jets. So that's a very good one. I didn't even think about that one. That's a good one. It's hard because Tom Brady, he's not who he used to be, but he's still respected. If that makes sense.
yeah,
So whoever gets him, I'm not sure, like via free agency. It's gonna be one. I'm gonna be interested in seeing like what type of deal he gets. Is he gonna get a 1 year deal, a 2 year deal? Like what type of insurance is he gonna get? Because I know like a team, like if the Raiders were to get him, because I think like I seen in the group chat earlier, The Raiders have a 3-day decision to make on Derek Carr after the season. It's 3 days. Right after you can cut him and and it's only basically a $6 million cap hit.
Right.
So teams like the Raiders, teams like you said, even the Saints maybe, which would be an interesting situation. Teams are gonna. I'm wondering what teams are gonna be offering him. Like, is he gonna get a year? Because at the most, I think he's a 1 year guy right now. Like if I'm a team like the Raiders, and I say, look, 1 year, 30 million. That's it. Like
Do
that.
you think he
So
goes to 50?
who
Do you think he plays to 50?
50? I think he can. I was telling y'all that, and y'all were like, "Oh, this is Tom Brady last year. This was Tom Brady last year." I told y'all, I said he gonna play about 3 more years, maybe 4 more years. I think he not ready. He not ready to give it up yet. Especially, I don't like speaking on people's personal life, but especially after the divorce.
Oh
His
yeah,
wife was the one. His former wife was the one who wanted him to stop, and she
yeah.
got the picture. So what reason he got to stop now?
Well,
If he was gonna stop, if he was gonna retire, he would have did that and kept his wife probably.
He would have.
So I mean, like I said, I remember both of y'all clearly saying this is probably gonna be his last year. I remember clearly y'all saying it. I'm gonna
But
remind
I
y'all
did
that
he
y'all
would
said
fall
this.
off though. Did I say that though?
He
yeah,
hasn't fell off though.
yeah, he's not played well at all.
He's not playing
What?
well, dude. He is
What?
not playing well. He overthrowing Mike Evans, dude, but he yelling at him though. He overthrowing people.
He's not overcoming the what's around him. Like, okay, is it his fault Leonard Fournette forgot how to run a football?
No, it's not.
The whole team
He,
is struggling.
The O
the
line's
whole
bad
team is
though.
like so. But we're blaming Tom Brady. He didn't give up 34. He didn't score much against the Niners, but he didn't give up 34 points to Brock Purdy.
Dude, he almost got outplayed by Andy Dalton.
You can
Yeah,
make a
but
case he did. It's just the
until
Saints blew that game.
yeah, but who got them back in that game though?
You can make a case
He
for
did.
defense.
The same Mark Ingram.
Yeah,
Somebody had to move that ball down the field.
Dennis Allen.
Dennis,
Dennis Allen, the coach of the year.
the Nate McMillan of the yeah.
Nah, I wouldn't even disrespect Nate
Nate
McMillan
McMillan
like
gets to
that.
the playoffs. He gets to
And
the
I
playoffs.
and I can't stand Nate McMillan, but I wouldn't even disrespect him like that.
Hey, they get dragged on Twitter, man.
He needs to go. But I predicted this 2 years ago. He needs to
Yeah,
go.
you've been on that ish right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Yeah, but I like that Jets option, man. Like that could be an intriguing situation, bro. Watch it come up. Watch. He gonna go to the Jets, recruit somebody, recruit a good wide receiver to go with him. He have a good roster, or he can talk to Odell Beckham Jr. and they can link up in New York and
with
then get new with DeAndre Hopkins.
with the Giants. If he goes
Yeah,
to the
with the
Giants,
Giants.
I don't see him
Yeah,
going to the Jets. I'd see
you
him
see
going to
him
the
the Jets.
Giants.
Yeah, Giants.
But
Jet to me, I got the Jets got a better roster.
that's fair. But I think the Giants are in the easier conference, so you also got to think about that too.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. You
Dude, you
think
gotta
that?
live with the Giants, bro. You dealing with Jalen Hurts, Dak, Commanders. They're like, I don't know.
No, I'm talking about conference, not division.
Oh,
Conference.
okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
And division, I'm not sure if we expect the NFC East to be that good next year. I think they were good, but I think the Eagles will be relevant. The Cowboys will be good. I don't think they're going to be as good as they were this year. Because remember, they may lose Dan Quinn or Kellen Moore. The Commanders, it's going to be interesting what they do at quarterback. Uh, they have an interesting. I feel like they like Taylor Heineke, but I'm not sure if they think he's the difference maker they need to get over the top. Also, is Ron Rivera coming back? If there's new ownership, that's not a guarantee. I think he probably does, but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't.
I don't
Um,
think that. Well, go ahead.
Go ahead, real quick.
I don't think the new ownership gonna come into place till after the season. So I think he's safe.
That's fair. Another thing, but the one thing I do agree with you, I was seeing some people on Twitter say this: if the Cardinals are gonna be bad next year, they should just because that roster is not that good, and they need to get some pieces. I've seen a lot of people mention they should try to trade DeAndre Hopkins and get some assets for him. So I actually think that wouldn't be a crazy idea for them to do, and I could see him linking up with a guy like Tom Brady, maybe even a guy like Deshaun Watson. But the only problem with the Browns, they gave up a lot to get Deshaun Watson. So
Or maybe a guy like Sean McVay.
Yeah.
maybe wait, I don't know how that will work.
That
Dude, they always make it work now.
Cardinals
They
Yeah,
need to
always
trade.
make it.
but
Rams don't care.
I don't see the Cardinals making that trade unless if they get Allen Robinson. I could see that happen. That's the only way I see that happening.
Cardinals need to trade Buda Baker.
Hey,
That's not.
imagine imagine if Jared Goff was a free agent.
He'd have a market.
He would have a big market. I think between him and Jimmy G, I'd probably take him over Jimmy G.
Yeah, because of the age.
Yeah.
I'd probably take Jimmy G.
Nah.
Yeah,
He's not even
Jared Goff,
playing.
man.
Jimmy G.
Jimmy is too much of an injury prone. Like at this
Yeah,
point,
he's
All right.
brittle.
If that's your point, fine. But I think outside of that, I take Jimmy G over Jared Goff.
what is Jimmy G better than from a talent standpoint?
I just think that's a fair question. I just feel like if you give Jimmy G everything, like obviously not even seeing
He's everything now.
have the coach or the roster the 49ers do, but if he can give him some, like if he goes to the Jets, I think they're a playoff contender. If he goes to the Giants, they're a playoff contender. I'm not so sure about that with Jared Goff. And the Bucks, playoff contender. So you think
Jared Goff and the Jets are a playoff team and possibly a Super Bowl team.
Yes.
Jared
maybe
Goff, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a Super Bowl team.
And if the Lions had a better defense, you arguably are talking about this team having probably 8 or 9 wins in their bucket right now, and they're like they're obviously a contender right now for a wild card spot. But if the Lions had a better defense, they'd probably have 10 wins.
Yeah, they would. They would. They would be a threat to Minnesota if they hadn't lost those 7 games.
So
Prior to the earlier part of the season. So we'll see, man. All right, moving right along, man. So the MVP race right now. Do y'all think that Jalen Hurts has locked up the MVP award, despite you got guys like Joe Burrow having a really good year and Patrick Mahomes? What do y'all think?
I think Jalen Hurts is probably going to win it, but if the Bengals keep on winning, and maybe even the Bills, I think Josh Allen or Joe Burrow can win it. Maybe even Patrick Mahomes has a shot. But right now, if I had to pick someone today, it would be Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts, yeah. What about you, Leo?
I'm gonna go with Patrick Mahomes. He's been, even though Hurts has had a very nice season, Mahomes has been his usual dominating takeover self. So I have to give him credit for that. A lot of people have thought that they had an opportunity to fall off because of the Tyreek Hill situation, and him getting traded. But we all can see that clearly has not happened. Mahomes has probably played some of his best football, and I could say arguably, even though you had the best tight end in the league, and Travis Kelce, he's 33 years of age, and it's sad to see aside of Mahomes, who has been their number one receiver. He hasn't had one like as a wide receiver. It's a committee, so he's proven that he can thrive outside of one player. I feel like Jalen Hurts, to be fair, he's done great. He's done some great things, and I'm not taking anything away from him. He has a superstar team. He has he has what's the NBA? He has the 2017 Warriors with way more depth with the bench players. Like he has the 2017 Warriors. Who has he has Devontae Smith is a number one on 75% of NFL teams. He's the number two. You got AJ Brown, Goddard, Miles Sanders, Gainwell. You got a very good backup running back. So he has a superstar team to work. And let's not even speak on defense. So I
Oh
feel
my
like
god.
Mahomes has done more with less, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna give him the MVP. That's just my reason. I may be wrong off my reason, but that's what I think is the MVP.
Now you're not wrong. I mean, I think Hurts deserves the MVP. He's put up a lot of some big numbers winning a lot of games. Um, but this is what management should do when you have a young quarterback that's showing potential. He's on a rookie deal. You're not paying him nothing right now. He was a second round pick, I believe, right? Second round pick. You're not paying him nothing right now. You got his cap space. Use it. Use it on players. And they're doing that right now. And I think Hurts should be the MVP, man. But Mahomes is having a really good year. And there's always a lot of takes online. People saying that it was gonna fall off because they didn't have Tyreek Hill, and people were saying that they weren't gonna win. It wasn't even gonna win the division. So people thought it was gonna be Denver. So then that clearly is wasn't true. And so I think it belongs to Jalen Hurts right now. But Joe Burrow's making a strong case, man. Strong push these last few weeks. So we'll see how everything plays out. But if the Bengals get back to the Super Bowl, I think they can swing it. It can swing his way. But sometimes, man, these awards already won, already been locked up. They just gotta wait to announce that person has won the award. But right now, man, my front runner to win the MVP is Jalen Hurts because a lot of people didn't expect him to win this award, be this good, or show these improvements this year, and saying that he couldn't throw and all this other mess. Nah, he's proving people wrong so far. So we'll see how it plays out down the stretch. All right. So we got the NFL playoff picture for both conferences. I'm gonna pull up the screen with the NFL playoff picture, and we'll pull up the NFC. Well, it's both on the screen right now, but I got in the NFC we got the Eagles number one, Minnesota's number two, 49ers three, Bucks four, Cowboys five, Commanders at six, Giants at seven, and you got Detroit and Green Bay at 9 and 10 in the hunt. So what I just said on the NFC side, do you think this will stay like this for the remainder of the season, or will it change? Or towards I would say like the lower seeds.
You said for the
It's going to be an
NFC.
interesting race for the playoff spots. Washington and New York play this week on Sunday night. That's going to be a huge game. Um, a team that I'm looking at the standings right now. I think the Lions have a shot. The Seahawks obviously have a shot. The Packers, they have to win out, but I think they have a slight shot. But even the Panthers have a shot via the division. I don't think they get a wild card spot, but they have a shot via the division. It's going to be interesting to see how the playoffs end up. The picture ends up being shaped as we go through the final weeks of this season. But a lot of teams have a shot.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna look at it. I would say, man, I think the Giants are gonna eventually fall short. I think Commanders might keep this six. The Commanders might keep the sixth seed, and I think July is gonna be the final seed in the playoffs, the seventh seed. I think Detroit's gonna make the playoffs. I think they're gonna win 9 to 10 games and get in. But you also got Green Bay not too far off, so there's a chance they can get in. But I want to talk about as a potential matchup in this first round, and that's that fourth and fifth seed between Tampa Bay and Dallas. So if the playoffs ended today, well, the season ended today, and the playoffs started, Dallas would have to go on the road to play against Tampa Bay. I think that's a dangerous game, man, for the Cowboys, because if Brady has the ball in his hand last, they're in trouble, and that's a really good defense that he could possibly carve up. So I think, man, that's a dangerous game for the Cowboys. That's a bad matchup for the Cowboys, man. Even though Dallas might be the better team, their defense have shown to have some, you know, faults in these last few games, especially what we just saw against the Houston Texans. Almost lost that game, but if Dallas do lose that game, Is Mike McCarthy safe?
That's a good question. One thing I'll say about that game, I feel like the Cowboys, if you want to win that game, you got to win by double digits. You can't let it be close
Yeah.
at the because if it does, then you risk that chance of losing. Um, that's a really good question. I probably would probably consider moving on, but you better have the right plan because like Sean Payton was mentioned, but I don't think he takes the Cowboys job. But you never know. Um, Dan Quinn or Kellen Moore probably be internal candidates too. Uh, or Jerry could try to find. I think he could try to find the next Sean McVay. Um, have that mindset. I don't know, but yeah, I think that's a fair question. Should he lose his job? I just don't know what like the expectations were going into the season. I think now with what we've seen, it's fair to say that anything short of the NFC Championship would be considered a failure. But and I know Jerry Jones has high standards, but he may look at that. That was just a tough match, and it also depends on how they lose. But yeah, I don't. It would be a failure because I think this team's good enough to make to the NFC Championship, maybe a Super Bowl. And the path this year, a lot of the top QBs like Brady, we thought everyone thought this year the top three teams would be the Rams, the Packers, and the Buccaneers. That wasn't the case. So yeah, I guess it would be a disappointment. I don't know if it's enough for Mike McCarthy to lose his job though.
But Jerry did say Super Bowl, remember?
Yeah, but Jerry's always talking.
Yeah, he's always saying so. Go ahead, Leo.
But um, so are we are you asking me about how the NFC NFC picture, or do you think for the Cowboys?
The NFC playoff picture. You can say something about that as well, but just what do you think there's the seat the playoff picture for the NFC is going to change, or you think it's going to stay the same to the end of the season?
I tend to agree with you on the Lions pick. If they defense can hold up, if the defense can hold up, and because the offense is there, like we know that if the defense can hold up these last four games, please, because I think they got the Bears in there as one of the
Yeah,
final games. They should. I think they play the Packers again too.
they play Carolina too. That's gonna be a
Carolina
tough
too.
game.
It's gonna be a tough game. That's a basically because Carolina's gonna have to win out to even have a shot. A lot of teams are having to win at least three of their last four. I think the Lions will get that seventh spot. I agree. And hey, whoever is the number two seed in the NFC, watch out. If they plan to play a high score, Lions can score anywhere. Like the defense may give up, but hey, the offense, I think they can travel and go and whoever the number two seed is, whether it's the
Minnesota.
if it's the if it's Minnesota, watch out. We saw what they did to Minnesota last week.
And the
So
only way Minnesota. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, but and also another team I think slides into there. I think the Seattle Seahawks slide out the playoffs, and I think the Giants. I disagree with you. I think the Giants can get in. I think the Giants get in as their sixth seed. I think they.
I don't see it.
I see it because I think they beat the Commanders. I think overall they better than the Commanders from top to bottom. Even though the Commanders have, I think maybe they might be have riding a high hand in Tyler Heineke. I'm going to say the Giants get the victory. Saquon Barkley hasn't been himself as of late, but I think he shows up these last four games, and I think that Daniel Jones proves that he'll be the quarterback of the Giants next year. Because I think if he leads them to the playoffs, he has he will have answered the question about who's going to be the quarterback of the team next year. I think that. So I think
It's
the
gonna,
Giants get in, and I think the Lions get in as the last two teams.
yeah. I mean, what we do know about Minnesota is that the only way they really know how to play is if the game is close. If they get like they get down by a large margin, they have not shown the ability to come back. We saw it against Dallas, we saw it against Philadelphia, and they try to do that against the Detroit Lions, but Lions pretty much shut them down. But I think Detroit gets into the playoffs, man, for the first time in 2014. It's been a while, so I think they get in the playoffs. I think Dan Campbell deserves some consideration for Coach of the Year. So we'll
One
see.
other thing I was going to add, if there's one top seed that I could see being one and done in the playoffs, it's the Minnesota Vikings. they could go as far as the NFC Championship, or they can lose in the first round. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
You can make that
Yeah,
argument for the
man.
Cowboys too, huh?
Did he freeze? Well, what did you say?
I said you can make the same argument for the Cowboys too.
Yeah, yeah.
If I
Good.
can keep.
Hey, the team with the better. Do you think the team with the better record should have to host the playoff game?
Probably, but you knew what it is coming into the season. Now, I
Yeah.
mean, so I think that would be a nice adjustment for them to make, but that's not happening this year, so you got to deal with it.
I think it's gonna happen eventually, though.
Yeah,
All right, so we're gonna look at the AFC side where Brian team at. AFC, you got Buffalo's the number one seed, Kansas City's the number two seed, number three seed is Baltimore, number four seed is the Titans, fifth seed is the Bengals, sixth seed is the Miami Dolphins, seventh seed is the New England Patriots on a bubble. 8, 9, you got Chargers and the Jets, and Jacksonville at 10. So do y'all think that these seeds right now in the AFC will change or just remain the same by close out of the season?
Um, for real, the AFC, I think the Bills got it locked up. Like that's a, I think that's the number one seed team in there, and I really think that they're probably my Super Bowl pick to win to go out to the Super Bowl. Um, a team that I think can make a jump. I think, and this gonna sound crazy, and don't judge me, but I do think that the Baltimore, if they get Lamar back, I'm I'm confident in their abilities to make a run. Like if I think what's it not yeah Tyler Huntley can keep them afloat, and I think that they're right now they're the three seed, and like you said, so if he can keep them afloat, I think, and I know he's questionable for I think for Sunday too, but if he's playing, I think he keeps them afloat. Um, Another team that I think that can slide back in there. Um, I don't think the Jets. I think the Jets fall up short. I think the Chargers fall up short too. I think New England is gonna hold on to their playoff spot. But in my soccer, I think Tennessee just has an utter collapse. I think they're wondering why the hell did the GM get fired and they lose all the rest of their games and Jacksonville makes the playoffs. It's
so
no
you
coincidence.
think we
Do you,
hold
do
on?
you think them do you think them losing to Jacksonville and the GM getting fired had any relation?
No, no. We just Jacksonville. We turned the ball over, and that was it. But let me ask you this: I actually think they could lose three of their final four games. You think we're losing to the Texans?
Texas
Yes,
almost beat the
Stop it!
Cowboys,
Stop it!
man.
We
the
ain't
Texans,
we ain't losing to the Texans. It ain't
bro.
happening.
Texas almost beat the Cowboys.
Y'all hadn't lost to Jacksonville at home in 8 years. Don't tell me that stuff isn't real. Don't tell me the correlation of somebody getting fired the same week and you losing to a team you have dominated at home for basically a decade. You tell me there's no correlation there. Come on now.
There isn't. And also, how many games is Jacksonville gonna win? I was looking at their schedule. I think that the best they could probably go, obviously 4-0, but they play the Cowboys this week. I think. Let me see the rest of their schedule real quick.
It's upset alert.
Yeah, I could see them winning. They play the Jets at the Jets, the Texans, and then that they play the Titans last. That could be for the division. But until I see it, I'll believe it. I like the Titans going on. I think the team that nobody's really talking about, some people are talking about that can miss, who got off to a hot start, the Miami Dolphins. They have an interesting finish to their schedule, and I could see. I don't think. Obviously, I don't think three teams are making it from the AFC East. I think at least two probably do, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Dolphins don't. And if it comes down to the Dolphins and Chargers and a head-to-head tiebreaker, the Chargers just beat the Dolphins. So that's huge.
I think I think the Patriots gonna get in, man. I think they're gonna get in again with the same roster they had last year and get smoked by the Kansas City Chiefs in the first round. But this matchup, since we had an intriguing matchup on the NFC side with Dallas and Tampa Bay, on the AFC side, if the season ended today, the the Tennessee Titans will be playing again against the Cincinnati Bengals in the playoffs at home. Rematch from last year when y'all sacked this dude what 9 times, right?
Yeah,
and was sorry
It
enough to
still could
lose.
it still couldn't move the football on the team. Still could not get any type of touchdowns on them. That shows y'all how I keep saying this how limited y'all are as a football team. If y'all cannot impose your will with Derrick Henry, y'all can't win football games. And I don't know how y'all win this game, man. That would be a tough game for y'all, man. And that's that game at home in Nashville.
yeah. But the way I look at it, I see the Bengals winning the AFC North, and that game doesn't happen. So I see
To
that
be so.
probably either being the Ravens, maybe the Dog, maybe even the
Y'all
Chargers.
might lose to them too.
And y'all don't beat the
Yeah, that's
Ravens
fine,
either.
but I see the Bengals taking the North. But yeah, Michael Irvin made the point that y'all were making. The difference between the Bengals and the Titans are the Bengals have the running game and the passing game, and the Titans only have the running game. We don't really have a big time passing game. And ultimately, I feel like if we want to, with the players we have, we maybe add a few more pieces. We want to reach our ceiling. We got to get a more dynamic passing game. What we have isn't good enough.
Hey, so let me say this, man. I saw this on Twitter, man. They both somebody brought it up. If Cliff Kingsbury is fired, man, I think he's gonna be the hottest OC candidate out there. I know a lot of teams that can use him, including the Titans.
I,
I
I'm
think he takes
sorry,
a head
that will
coaching.
never happen. You
I
know
think he
where
takes a
he,
What?
head coaching job. I
if
think he
Cliff
takes a.
Kingsbury's smart, can I say this real quick? Then I'll let you
Go
go.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead,
If
bro.
Cliff Kingsbury's smart, you know where he should go. Just take a
Right.
guess. To the Rams and just be an offensive assistant and learn under Sean McVay as much as you can. Unless if you get a really good OC job, but I'll be stunned.
The Titans will be a good OC job.
What smart team would hire him?
The Titans,
I don't see that happening. That's not. I don't see that
And why are
happening.
we
But you
talking
never
about?
know.
Why is he on the hot seat? He just signed an extension before the season
bro,
started.
he getting fired.
Like,
He could get fired, man.
Yeah.
so
Look at
Kyler
the.
Murray is gonna get traded then, since he just signed it.
No,
He's hurt.
The GM, the head coach, and the quarterback all just got fresh extensions. Literally fresh. They just showed us on Monday night. Fresh inked extensions, and you telling me less than a season into the extension that this guy might get let go. And second of all, I think what. Do y'all think that he can go back to college if he get if which go back to college and be a head coach somewhere?
Yeah.
yeah, somebody
But
will hire.
or OC like this OU guy I follow has always been saying, well, don't be surprised if Cliff Kingsbury is the next Alabama OC. But
Oh my
I've
god.
what I saw something Cliff said that makes me think he could potentially stay in the NFL. He's not. I'm not sure if he wants to do all the recruiting and doing all the stuff because you. I saw on a tweet that being a coach in college is 5 times harder than being a coach in the NFL because of all the stuff you have to deal with. Is it harder to win in the NFL? Yeah, but it's easier to coach in terms of you just deal with football. You don't have to deal with all that other stuff. And I think that's why ultimately I think he's going to stay in the NFL. But like I said, if he's smart, go learn under Sean McVay. Go maybe he's friends with Josh McDaniels. I could see him there. And you can be an offensive assistant. I mean, or if you really, if it was real, if I was him, I would try to be a defensive analyst and just work my way up, and then to prove I obviously he doesn't have anything, but to get better as a coach because he has a lot of work to do as a coach. But yeah, if Arizona's smart, they clean house, and it's all right to do that. I personally, I wouldn't have extended them. I would have let their contracts play out. They would have expired after this year and take it from there. I'm fine with them extending Kyler Murray. But there's still a lot of question marks about him. But it's going to be interesting to see what Arizona does and who they hire and who their quarterbacks next year for at least that season because I don't think it'll be Kyler Murray to start. And
So you think they?
honestly, done if he played next season.
So y'all think they gonna push? Say y'all think he gonna push Calm up out of there too while he get doing it through. Hopefully, and God bless him. Hope he gets better. By the way.
Yeah.
So if Kingsbury go, Is it likely Calm is out too? Are they use this little situation as a way to get him up out of there?
Yeah, I think
No, no. I
Conklin.
think if they were, this has not. I get your point. I wish him nothing but the best. But this is, he's been there since 2013. Three head coaches. Very few GMs survive three head coaches. I'll be stunned if he survives a fourth. And if they hire someone like Sean Payton, he can maybe have another role in the organization, but he ain't gonna have power because Sean Payton will want all the control. But Kyler's done a good job. His Bruce Arians was a good hire, and who knows if Bruce Arians doesn't retire, maybe we're having a conversation about the Cardinals maybe winning the Super Bowl instead of the Bucks. But obviously, who knows if they get Tom Brady? That's another discussion for another day. Steve Wilkes work out and Josh Rosen. Um, Cliff has been all right, but you can see they've gotten better year except for this year win loss record, but they've not finished the season strong. And this has been a trend for Cliff going all the way back to his college days. I think it's time for a change. Everybody that understands the game of football thinks that they should make a change. Now, whether Mike Bidwell does that or not, that's another story. But we'll see.
All right, moving right along. All right, man. So we'll segue to the NBA right now. And if you look at the standings in the Western Conference, two teams that are on top of it right now is not they're not the Golden State Warriors. They're not the LA Clippers. They're not the LA Lakers. They're not the San Antonio Spurs, Phoenix Suns. It's the New Orleans Pelicans and the Memphis Grizzlies. Two teams that are not too far from each other in the South. We're in the Western Conference right now. Grizzlies have won 8 of the last two, currently on a 6 game winning streak. Pelicans has won 8 of their last two. They lost yesterday to Utah, but both teams are top of the West right now, tied for first place. So I want to ask y'all right now: do these two teams run the West, and will they be facing each other down the road in the Western Conference Finals, or do you think teams like Golden State, Clippers, Phoenix get hot
Uh,
down the road?
this is going to be interesting to see how this one goes. If there are a team that's going to make the Western Conference Finals, I'll probably lean towards the Pelicans because I just think they have the better overall team than the Grizzlies. But we'll see if there's moves made at the trade deadline by all these other
I
teams.
ain't better not hear that, man.
No, I'm talking about all the other teams. I don't think the Pelicans make any significant moves, but and see how they go. But yeah, I like the Pelicans. If I had to pick one of those two teams to make to the Western Conference Finals, I'll lean toward the Pelicans. But the West is really really wild. Denver is another team. Denver, if everybody's playing their best, I like Denver over both of those teams. Uh, I just think they have the higher ceiling. All their stars are playing at the level they can play. Uh, but I really like what I'm seeing for the Pelicans. I'll be shocked. I thought there's a chance they're going to make the playoffs. So I've been proven wrong a lot. Same thing with
Yeah, that was wild by you, man.
no, but it was. Look, I didn't know they were going to be this good offensively and defensively. Even you, DB, you may not have thought they would have missed the playoffs, but you didn't think they'd be this good to start the
No,
season.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I
so
was looking at.
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this playoff picture takes place and then how the playoffs go. But right now, like both of these teams to at least make it to the second round of the playoffs.
For me, um, I like if everybody healthy and on the court. I like the Clippers. I just like the Clippers over both of those teams because last year they didn't have nobody had to deal with Kawhi. They had to deal with Paul George, Reggie Jackson, all those boys down there because they didn't make the playoffs. This year, if they can stay healthy, I think they're the team to beat. But with Kawhi and his injuries, low management, you never know. So right now, man, I just think it's a toss up between the Pelicans and the Grizzlies, man. These other teams like Golden State, I know everybody's saying that chill and they'll get it together and all that, but once January come around and February and that stuff, these losses start to add up, and the margin for error gets thin, and then they start to hover on that playing tournament range like the Lakers was last year. So I mean the Warriors is man, I just think it's a struggle right now. It's just you blending old talent with new talent, with younger talent right now, and that's been the issue right now. The Warriors, man, but I like the team. The Grizzlies, man. The Grizzlies, I think they can make a run, man. They really can. You got John Moran out there. They got Desmond Bain is currently out right now. Once they get him back into the fold, I think they're gonna be really dangerous. Same with the Pelicans. They missing Brandon Ingram, Jones out. They get back into the picture. They're gonna be really good. So that's a toss up for me, man. But I like the Clippers though. I like the Clippers a lot if they can stay healthy. What about you, Leo?
I want to talk y'all into thinking the Lakers can make a run. I'm really convinced that the Lakers, from a standpoint of like, okay, well, before I get to Lakers, between the Grizzlies and the Pelicans, I'm about to go with the Pelicans. Like, to be fair, I haven't seen either team in full strength the whole season, but if I were to go with one, I'm going with the Pelicans. I feel like they have a little bit more length. Our biggest questions is on the inside. I think Jared Jackson will be a really big, tough matchup for them, because I've been disappointed at the y'all haven't the Pelicans haven't given a guy like Jackson Hayes, who was a big part of that team last year. Pretty much fell out the rotation,
Yeah,
and I know he's had a lot of injuries too, but he's
yeah,
filling
he
out the
out the
rotation.
rotation.
Yeah, like, and there was a guy that was a. I thought I had big expectations for him going into this season, and also the fact that y'all, the another thing too, y'all like a true point guard. Um, it's CJ McCollum pretty much. Besides Jose Alvarado, who CJ McCollum is effectively the starting point guard pretty much, and I need DB. What's his name? I didn't know he was gonna be out, but Kyra Lewis Jr. I thought he was going to the guy that y'all drafted a couple years ago.
Yeah, 2021. Yeah, 2020. Yeah,
2020. Yeah, I expect a lot because there's a lengthy like a 6'6" guy that can play that's a point guard. Is a real point guard. Hasn't been healthy. That's who I thought was going to be a starter this year, but
oh no.
obviously I thought he was had a potential. He has a lot of potential.
Yeah, man, the roster's so
Deep.
stacked that people are just gonna have to get sacrificed. Media's gonna have to get
Yeah,
like
but
Herman
go ahead.
Gomez. He ain't getting that much playing time. And he's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the emergence of Dyson Daniels, that's a guy that who we talked about before the season started. A guy that's like 18, 19 years old. This guy was buried on the third string on the third team and has found his way into the starting lineup and has played really well. And definitely when everybody's healthy, he's going to secure big second team minutes when the playoffs probably like for the later part of the season and in their playoff run if the Pelicans have a extended run. Like
Did we
Cut
lose him?
out. He cut out, man.
Yeah.
experience like from a whole like I mean of course they had that 6 game run with the Suns but nobody besides CJ has extended big time playoff minutes that I can remember. So the youth is the question that they're mainly and also with the Grizzlies can they stay healthy? Like, can either team stay healthy? Because if health doesn't get in the way of either of these teams, both I can see the Pelicans or Grizzlies making the conference finals. I know Brian mentioned Denver. Denver's so fugazi. What they say the term fugazi in the playoffs,
Fugazi,
man.
yeah.
They always Denver always flops. Like last last year, didn't they get swept by the
They're the Titans.
they're the Titans of the of the NBA, bro. Like you they're a middling team whose best run was to the bubble conference finals, which great they got there, but they're not. I don't take Denver seriously in playoff situations because they've proven like they can't finish. Whether it's 2021 against they've gotten swept at the playoffs the last 2 years, Phoenix Suns and the Golden State Warriors. So They just have proven when they go up against good teams in the playoffs, they don't finish. They don't even get started. I mean, I would want I like the Nuggets, but they just not realistically a playoff threat to me. Uh, before I hand it back to y'all, the team that I really watch it for out in the West, and I know this is going to be sound crazy, but don't be surprised if I like the Portland Trailblazers. I know they don't have the team like they don't, but I feel like Dame. This is probably Dame's best supporting cast he's had in a long time. With
Oh yeah.
with a guy like Simons and Grant, you got two guys that can go get you 30. They can go get you 30 points legitimately, and at the minimum 20 points a night. And this is definitely one of his better supporting casts. And don't be surprised if if they shock somebody like when they had made the conference finals against the Warriors in 2019. They got there by shocking two teams, the Nuggets, and then they shocked the no, they played Nuggets in the second. Was the second round? They beat somebody. They beat somebody in the first round. But anywho, this is a recipe of one of those teams. They could shock somebody too. The Portland Trailblazers. The weakest part of their team is probably their defense, but I think they have enough talent offensively to make some noise. And I know people aren't talking about them because they're not the sexy pick, but they're a team to watch out for.
All
Uh,
right. So go ahead.
yeah, one thing I have to just completely disagree with the Denver Nuggets. I disagree with that. The last 2 seasons, Jamal Murray was hurt, and
There
then
you go.
I can't. No, I'm just. It's a good reason. One of their best
That you
players.
got swept 2 years in a row.
Yeah. Okay, but think of. Let me explain this. And when the year they lost the Warriors, or when they made it to the second round. I think 2 years ago without Jamal Murray, and so you got to give them credit for that. Let me explain why I don't agree with that take. Every year before Jamal Murray got hurt, they were ascending. They won. They won in the first round. They won the second round, and then the bubble. They made it to the conference finals. And so this team, if they had stayed healthy, they would have had a really good shot to make it to the finals and maybe win it all. And so if they can stay healthy, they're to me the team to beat in the West because they have the talent and the experience. Maybe they can add one more piece, uh, and they have one of the best coaches in the NBA, Mike Malone. So I just don't agree with that take at all that you made. That, and then the Jackson Hayes thing, I think it's an okay point. I actually think if I was the Falcons, I'd probably try to move him for another piece and see. You can either upgrade at the big position or get a true point guard like you were saying, Leah. But I don't think Jackson Hayes is as valuable maybe as he was last year. I think this is a different team. Larry Nance is very important. Jonas Valanciunas, the fit with him and Zion. I got to hold on. Let me see. I can't remember if he's still starting with Zion. I didn't think that worked. That's worked out better than I thought. A guy like Nerlens Noel would be an interesting fit. He's probably going to get traded. He would be an interesting fit with the team like New Orleans. But I just want to make sure. I think sometimes we're prisoner of the moment, but we look at maybe one season.
For the moment.
Yeah, even that I am too. I'm just the only thing.
Stay for the moment.
I don't think the Denver take was a fair one. That's it. That's
All
all.
right. So at the season end, we'll play the Sacramento Kings. Do they win that series over Sacramento?
Memphis.
No, Denver. They're the third seed. Third seed plays the sixth seed. Would they win a series over Sacramento?
Yeah, I would pick them to win it. It probably gets 6, maybe even 7, but I'd pick them to win it. You pick the Kings over the Nuggets?
Bro, I don't trust. I don't. I'd rather pick a team that I ain't seen play the playoffs in my lifetime over over the Nuggets. But I don't trust the Nuggets in the playoffs. It's like Jokic becomes a different player. Everybody becomes different. Like I promise you, they don't play good in the playoffs. Like besides, like you said, they was ascending. Jamal Murray a great player. But you can make the argument he's not a max player. He got played to be a max player. He's not a max player no more. He's not as good as he used to be, and it's a fact. Like I don't. What is so great about the Denver Nuggets? Like besides Nikola Jokic, like I don't see I don't see it. Like they got this.
So
I would
he's
go with. I would rather pick some. I would rather pick Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox over Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic.
so you think Jokic is their one and Murray is the two now?
Jokic is the one, of course.
Yeah,
That's the man. That's the goat. Like that's the goat of
But it
that
wasn't
team.
supposed
That's
to be
the
like that though.
it
not necessarily.
wasn't, but it
Well,
wasn't, but when you win back to back MVPs, that kind of
Yeah,
changes the order on the totem pole.
yeah, it does.
yeah, but one quick thing but their most important player is MPJ, because if you see the teams that win, they have really good wings, and if he, I'm not saying he'll have to be their best player, but he's their most important player because he to me takes them from a underachieving team in Leo's eyes to potentially championship contender. But hey, Leo, put that take out on Twitter and see you will get roasted if you put that take out. Put it out on Twitter and let's see what people say. But that's all I have to say.
bro, bro. I don't Twitter. I don't care if I get roasted
No,
on Twitter.
but
Like
there's some people you respect on Twitter that will roast you. That's all I'm gonna say. So
about
go
the
ahead.
Kings, the Sacramento Kings.
No, I'm talking about the Denver Nuggets. In your opinion, have underachieved in the playoffs. People
They
think
Yeah.
have,
no,
they
they have not.
have.
Oh my gosh. Go ahead. Anyway, we gotta move
All
on.
right, man. We got a comment, man. We got a comment from Jeremy Liggins, man. He said that my three championship contenders are the Bucks, Clippers when fully healthy, and I think the Cavs are sneaky as well in the East. And I can respect that. Yeah,
I can respect. Yeah,
Yeah.
Cleveland. I expect Cleveland to be that good, but I don't know if you getting past Boston, man. It just
Yeah.
Boston
what's
showed me
intri-
so.
what's intriguing about Cleveland is they have the inside outside presence now. With Mobley's fully established now. Like this guy is a double double every night. Him and Allen are double doubles every night. And then with the inside out, now their only question is perimeter defense,
Yeah.
and can they get enough stops late in a playoff game? Like that's their only question. Like on the terms of other guys, because not gonna lie, Darius Garland, they be getting toasted on defense. Like, they be getting toasted. Like their perimeter defense is horrible. But Allen and Mobley clean up everything inside, and the only, like I said, the only question is for them, like if they go play Boston in the playoffs, Marcus Smart, like can somebody stop? They're gonna have to like a guy that's gonna be important for them, Isaac Okoro, and I know he doesn't play very much. Like in terms of he was their former fifth. I think it was the fifth pick in 2020 for them. He comes off the bench. He's gonna have to be a stopper because they don't have that many stoppers on the perimeter. Like their
Yeah.
wings are not. Levert's not a stopper really. Um, we know D Mitch and Darius let everything go by him. So so
I
so
disagree with that. Donovan has been a better defender this year. Garland, if you want to say, is probably their weaker defender, but Donovan's actually stepped it up on defense. But I do agree with you. They need another wing. Jay Crowder would be. I would love for to see him there. And he will give me one or two really good 3-and-D wings on that roster, and then I think they could be a legit contender. But yeah, I'm not there yet with them.
yeah, they
All
they
right.
just yeah they're on the inside. Like with Mobley and like we said, Mobley and Allen are their sure things. And
Yeah.
that's what I think distinguished Mobley's development. I think if Mobley had this much development for last, I think they would have beat the Nets in that play-in game. Like I think he's become that much more of an important guy for them. But yeah, I'm interested to see what the Cavs do, like you said, Brian.
All right, man. Speaking of the East, the Brooklyn Nets, man. Look like to me things are getting to finally turn the corner with this team. They've won four straight, eight of the last two games, 17-12 record. They're currently the fourth seed in the East right now. So, and you got Cleveland, Milwaukee, and Boston in front of them. So, is it fair to say that the Nets have turned the corner in the East? Because they were down in the dirt at one point.
He can take this first, Leo.
Yes. I think the Kyrie everything has been situated. Like I think they know what it is with him. They know what it is. Everybody know when they roll. It's also as a fact that Kyrie and Katie are just backpacking every night, and they explain to our listeners about what that is. Basically, putting the team on your back and just saying, you know what, to heck with the rest of y'all. We're either gonna win. We're not either gonna win because of us or me, or just gonna lose because of me. Like they've also taken that mentality, and to be honest, it's worked to an extent because like you said, Kyrie has stepped up, KD phenomenal, but also I will just say this now. Before I give all the credit to Kyrie, KD, that game that they played against the Pacers when they had eight of their players were gone and they won that
Yeah,
game. Why in
yeah.
the hell was Cam Thomas not been in their rotation the whole game? This guy dropped 33 points. The guy played phenomenal, and he wasn't even in the rotation. This was a guy they drafted in the first round last year, and didn't even put him in the rotation. Like, I think that's yeah. They have more. I want more. They got some respect for them because for them because they have more depth than I thought. But but also like we said, everything goes with Kyrie, KD. So I don't know if they're champion. I don't know if they win. I don't know if they could beat Boston. I don't know. If they play Boston, I don't think they get swept this year. I don't think it's a
No,
sweep. But but then again, nobody thought they got. Folks was picking them to win last year against Boston, and I ain't gonna lie, they didn't go well. So, but I think their ceiling is a conference finals because I didn't even speak on Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons, if he can find some sort of aggression offensively, like they're going to be unstoppable because you already can't guard KD or Kyrie. Nobody can guard him. If Ben Simmons gets any sort of aggression and starts, doing his thing, the Knicks could win the championship. They can, like they can, and they can. And DB, we haven't talked about the Sixers, but I think they can beat the Sixers if Ben Simmons is at his fullest potential.
what if James Harden is at his full strength?
Oh snap!
Yeah.
Not yeah, James Simpson. James Harden, my bad.
Oh snap! Then yeah, the Sixers, the Nets are in trouble. But that's anything the Sixers go against. But I think that like I said, Ben Simmons. But I think KD trumps everybody in that like situation. If KD, Kyrie, they doing their thing, Nets are unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
Yeah. The Nets, give Jock Vaughn credit, took over a tough situations and made the Nets relevant in a good way. Uh, it's going to be interesting to see if they decide to make any moves at the trade deadline. I think they maybe need maybe one or two more pieces to be a serious contender, but they definitely, I like the direction they're headed into. Um, it's going to be interesting, the Eastern Conference playoffs. Right now, probably two teams ahead of them. I'll put for sure Boston, Milwaukee. I think they could beat Cleveland in a series because you ask yourself who's
Yeah.
guarding Kevin Durant for Philly. You can maybe put Philly ahead of them if you want, but again, I think they need maybe one or two more pieces. And in order to do that, you have to give up somebody. But if you give up the right, like Patty Mills, I think he should be on the trade block. If you can get a wing, a really good wing, and then maybe open up a buyout spot for another quality player, then that'd be nice. But I really like the Nets. See, if the Lakers are anything like the Nets, I'll be really happy. But they're not right now, and I don't think they'll get anywhere close this season without making some moves and Coach Ham not being stubborn. But I give credit to the Nets. They were think about the whole offseason. It's all about where was KD gonna go. He ended up staying, and now I think they have a chance to win a championship again. Who would have thought?
Yeah. They started their schedule gonna heat up a little bit after where they played the Wizards on Monday and won that game. But then after that they got the Raptors, the Pistons, then they got Golden State, then the Bucks, and after Christmas they played the Cavaliers. I can see him going, blowing past the Golden State right now the way they're looking. Clippers, the Pistons, that's gonna be easy. And that's gonna be the Bucks gonna be the big game that we play um 2 days before Christmas. But look like things are turning around for that team, man, because it's just been, prior to this running on right now, it's just a lot of drama and this and that with Kyrie stuff and Kevin Durant saying this and that. We got it together, man. It's just sometimes it takes time for new coaches to get their their system in place and the team finally buying into it. So I think that's gonna be into being it, man. Down the stretch, it could easily take that third seed from Cleveland. Possibly that I don't, bro. Possibly that second seed, but I don't think they'll get. I think they'll get higher, no higher than the third seed in the East, and that shouldn't be an issue. Going forward, probably get the third seed and possibly keep in Cleveland. Cleveland possibly be the fourth seed, and they'll draw Philadelphia in that first round. So we'll see how everything play out. Hey, let's close it out, man. What we think about Chicago, man? You think it's
Yeah,
done? It's toast.
they lost a tough one today to the Knicks in overtime. It's going to be interesting what if they decide to. I don't think they blow it up all the way, but I wouldn't be surprised if they trade one of Levine or DeRozan. Lonzo Ball saw a report by Woods that he may not even
Yeah,
play the entire season. So
yeah,
I
I
think
saw that.
need to try to probably get another point guard. But I think they probably play it out this season and then maybe make some moves in the offseason. But yeah, they've been kind of a disappointment, but not a huge one.
Hey, what about this, man? If I'm Chicago, man, I might need to call him Midoka, man.
Billy just got an extension.
You did. I
Hmm.
mean, that don't matter, man.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say earlier when we were talking about the Cardinals. Sometimes they just do that extension just to be nice to the coach. Doesn't mean he's gonna be there long term. So,
They nicely give people millions of dollars.
yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes
they
they do it.
don't care.
Now, the one thing I'll say, sometimes they don't do it for like long time. But yeah, sometimes you can do extension and get rid of the coach. But I think they have more roster issues. Not saying that Billy Donovan is the greatest coach. He isn't, but um, I think they have some roster. The
I don't
biggest
think.
issue there, the guy who they thought was going to be their point guard, isn't there, and it's really affected them. But I still
I
think
don't
they can
think.
make the playoffs.
I don't think Donovan's gonna get him a championship, man. To get him to that level, man, to where they're a top, 4 or 5 team in the East, man. I don't. I
Billy
don't.
has 5 years left on his contract. He had 2 years left before he got the extension. Now he signed a 3 year extension. He has 5 years left. So do you think he'll be the coach at the end of the five, DB?
Probably not, but
Probably not.
long as the front office stays the same, he'll probably be there, unless if they go into rebuild. But it's kind of funny that the guy who hired him, I think they were either teammates or they were friends when they played in college, and that's one of the reasons how he got the job. It's good to
All
know
Paxton?
right.
people.
You talking about Paxton?
No,
Actually,
he's no
gone.
longer there. It's the guy from Denver. He's European. He has
The
a
Arcos? The Arcos?
carnivorous. Yeah.
The, yeah, him.
All right, man. We got another question from Jeremy, man. He said, he asked with Chicago. I want to ask y'all if there's a chance that Alonzo Ball can possibly be a star. Been a huge fan of him, and realistically, he is a good starting point guard. But I don't know if that's his ceiling. Man, it's his biggest issue, man. Thanks for asking the question, Jeremy. His issue to me has been health, man. Been his biggest drawback. He's gotten better as a scorer, where his ball skills are on point as a point guard, field general, good player defensively. His issue, his fallback is gonna be health, man. To
Yeah.
me,
Yeah. Yeah.
what y'all
I
think?
don't think. Yeah. Sorry. I don't think he'll ever be a star, but he'll be a really good point guard. Someone made this comparison during the draft. I think it was Jalen Rose, and I agree with it. He's probably Ricky Rubio, or Rajon Rondo. That's
No,
a
I'll
good.
do that man like that, bro.
I
Don't
think
play
that's a.
with Ricky Rubio. Nah, man.
That's not a knock. Ricky Rubio is a good player.
Nah, bro. Don't do that, man. Don't even put him in Rondo, bro. Don't put Lonzo Ball in Rondo. I like Lonzo, but
You think
let's
so?
chill on the let's chill on the Lonzo Rondo comparison, man. Don't do that.
All right,
Don't do
that's
that.
fair. That's fair. But you think, yeah, you don't think he can have a good as a career as a Ricky Rubio?
Rick, come on, man.
Don't
All the
disrespect Ricky Rubio.
Rubio
Ricky
cold.
Rubio, man.
Nah,
He's a,
All the
Rubio.
good point guards.
Nah.
Go ahead, bro.
I think he's a bigger. I think he's a bigger. I think he's a bigger, taller Ty Lawson.
I can
maybe,
respect that.
maybe. But yeah, like you said, health is a big issue. But Ricky Rubio is not a bad player. I'm not saying you say he is, but that would be a solid career for him. Obviously, you want him to be a starter. Ricky Rubio at this point in his career is a reserve, and I think he's with the Cavs now and out, and he'll be another piece they'll add hopefully sometimes this season. But yeah, health is the biggest issue. I think getting out of the Lakers spotlight was probably the best thing that happened to him. At least at the because his dad put a lot of pressure on him and all that. And I think getting out of there helped him. He could potentially go back later, and it could be a little better. But I think that his whole start of his career was just a tough situation for him. I really wish he stayed in New Orleans, but it didn't work out. That's where I think he and Brandon and Zion would have been a nice trio. But uh, if he can stay healthy, he'll be a solid point guard. If not, he can reminds me of, I hope this doesn't happen, a Brandon Roy. I don't think he's as good as Brandon Roy was, but
Oh no.
yeah. But you know what I mean? Someone whose career was derailed by injuries. And so Chicago needs to be planning. They have a really good kid out of Illinois who they picked, Ayo. He hasn't been playing that lately, but he's a solid player out of Illinois. Javante Green's a good piece. Kobe White, it'll be interesting if he's traded. Um, but they played hard tonight against the Knicks. I saw a little bit of the game, but fell short. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I don't think they make a major move this season, but it wouldn't surprise me if they trade DeRozan or probably more likely DeRozan over Levine. And then in the offseason, maybe they could either blow it up or try to go all in on a guy. If AD is available, I could see that happening.
Where would you think Levine go?
I could see him going to the Lakers for AD.
Lakers.
Uh,
Lakers.
In the trade
yeah.
for
Yeah.
this year?
He showed just
Yeah, I
signed
don't
his
know. It
extension
probably in the
too.
offseason. I don't think the Lakers are trading AD this in season unless if like LeBron has a season-ending injury or something, and you get an insane package where you can't refuse it. Dallas is another possibility. Luka Doncic needs another co-star with him.
That's gonna be their downfall, man.
Dallas.
Like Dallas can never bring another star to pair with their superstar.
Yeah, they
They got some
they'll
Wood's a
have to
star.
probably do it via trade, but they could. Think about this. One of the biggest what ifs in NBA free agent history. What if Giannis doesn't sign with Milwaukee, and goes to Dallas? Man, that would have been one hell of a deal. Luka and Giannis. Um,
But it didn't happen.
yeah,
It
but
didn't
yeah, that's
happen,
fair.
man. That's crazy.
That's fair. I
Man, there's a
think
lot of what ifs out there, man.
yeah, Chris Middleton is a free agent. Now I know he's getting a little older, but that would be a solid. He's definitely a two you could put with Luka, and he's from Texas. I think went to Texas A&M, so I could
I
see
don't
him.
know, man. He needs a like a 1A, man. A 1 and a 1A, man.
What about Anthony Davis? That was a rumor too. Davis to the Mavericks.
That would be good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would work. Yeah.
yeah.
You can't have Chris
'Cause I'm,
Miller. I'm nothing against Chris Miller, man, but it just he's a
he's a
1A.
B.
Luca needs
He's
a
a
1A.
B.
Yeah.
Middleton's a
He's a
B.
B.
He's a B. But I also think that I'm tired, y'all. Like you said, I'm tired of watching Luca backpack every night. Like he literally stuffs the team in a backpack and puts them on his back. Like I'm surprised to, to for somebody who backpacks every night. I'm surprised Luca don't get hurt as much. Like he's a consistent assistant, a consistent what we call like what our friends say is a consistent backpacker. He carries the team every night, like every night. Like he has a if he's not scoring 30 plus points, giving them 10 plus rebounds and 8 plus assists, they're not only losing games, they're getting blown out. Like, and this I also blame Mark Cuban too, because Mark Cuban and management, though, like you said, those guys are too smart to have a guy back. Because they damn near rolled Dirk into the ground. But
Yep.
Dirk at least had some support. They at least gave Dirk Steve Nash, even though the later legs of J Kidd and Marion and the crew. If Luca hadn't had nobody on those level, and the best player they had, they were too cheap and let the Knicks snag Jalen Brunson. That's what also the reason is too, because Brunson took a lot of heat. Like towards that playoff one, during the playoffs, Brunson was sometimes their best player. Brunson was their best player for a couple of games, and he was put the team on his back. and they don't have a guy that can do that anymore. That they can take the pressure off Luca. They can't live with Luca bad games like they used to in the playoffs when Brunson was going off. So that was also I think they're gonna regret that. That's probably one of the biggest regrets on Mark Cuban list is not paying up to get Jalen Brunson. When the Knicks offered what was it 96 million for 4 years. The Knicks gave well for like was it no it was like 90 something for like was it 5 years? Yeah, something like that. And the Knicks gave Brunson 108 for 4 years, which of course who would turn that the
Well,
choice was obvious,
Who turned
but
that
I
down?
I would I would. I think the Knicks, the Dallas should have given Brunson his money and let him come back because we
well,
obviously see they don't have a secondary ball handler outside of him, and I think he's better than Dinwiddie. No offense to Dinwiddie,
yeah.
and of course, yeah, I just prefer Brunson over Dinwiddie.
And did what he was come back from injury. Uh, that's another guy I like on the Lakers, the LA kid. But the thing with Brunson's situation, I think he was leaving. Even I can't remember if the money was equal, but he has a bigger role, and he's out of the spotlight of the Luka Doncic. And not saying he didn't like playing with Luka, but he has a bigger role in New York, and his dad's assistant with the Knicks too. So you get to play for your dad. It was an opportunity I think he wouldn't have passed up. Now, if you want to say they maybe should have traded him during the season, or tried to do a sign and trade. Those can be complicated, uh, but I think they can get it right. They just gotta make better moves. One move they really messed up in the offseason. They gave JaVale McGee a lot of money, that way more than he should have. He's not even in their rotation. Kristen Wood, I don't know if he probably should be starting. He doesn't. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do at the trade deadline. Uh, we saw, I think, last time they traded Kristaps Porzingis. Let's see what they do this year. I'm not sure if they're going to do a move that big, but yeah, I think I also saw a report they have like 2 years to try to help Luke out, or maybe he'll ask for a trade. They got to get another star in
You
there.
ask for a trade? He'll ask for a trade?
Probably, I could see it
Dude,
happening.
look into the
Dallas,
Knicks.
they need to go. The Mavericks need to go kick the curbs, go to back to Washington and try to get Bradley Beal.
No, no, Bradley Bill's overrated. I love him.
What? Are you kidding me?
He is over. Yes, he's overrated. He is. If you have to choose between AD and Bradley Bill, who would you get?
Bro, I don't like either one of those guys. Well, to be my number one,
No, like let's say Luca's the number one, your number two player on the championship team.
I go with AD.
Yeah. So, and
I'll go
also,
with AD. Yeah.
yeah, I'll go with AD too.
AD, no.
But Bradley Bill, you make a case the Wizards should have not one extended him, and they should have just traded him at last year's trade deadline or before the season started last year. But that's a bad contract. But if he's the best you can get, you might as well make that move. But I would try to see if I can get someone better than him before I go all in on him, because not only will you give up a lot of assets, that's a lot of years and a lot of money for someone who's a good player, but he's not a great player. One trade that I always wanted to see was um, Joel Embiid come to Dallas, but that's never going to happen. Um, yeah,
Joel Embiid's retiring a Sixer, bro.
yeah. What about Ben Simmons? And I know he's not but I think he could be an interesting player. Obviously, number one, he has to get healthy, and he'll have to eventually get a really good jump shot. But if Ben Simmons reaches the ceiling, I think he could be a poor man's LeBron James.
Don't do that, man. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Nah, that's actually not that bad. That's actually not bad. Like LeBron, it's always the LeBron. I'm not as scared of the comparison as it sounds. Nah, I actually think he has the physical talents and tools. I think he's a better defender than LeBron. First of all, defensively, LeBron's not on his level. We keep it in the book.
Oh,
Now, offensively, Simmons is 5 books behind, but I mean, it's not as bad of a comparison as you might think, DB.
so, if there's a poor man's LeBron James, do you think there's a poor man's Steph Curry out there, or that just like
Yep.
Trey
he
Young,
he's on
Trey
guy?
Trey
Young.
Young,
Trey
Trey
Young.
Young. That's what everybody says.
Trae Young.
And he's been
Yeah.
struggling really lately.
He can't even shoot three. He doesn't even shoot threes anymore. Like do you
I
like
don't know.
no
He's been
he,
struggling
I
from
haven't
three.
seen any of the games lately. I
yeah
gotta go to the
he
league
had
pass, check it out.
what do you say?
Hey, I gotta go to League Pass and check him out, check his games out, watch some of his games. The League Pass.
They've
Okay.
lost out of their
I
last
heard
10.
it was bad tonight, though. I heard it was
Yeah,
bad.
out of their last 10 games, they have a 3-7 record. The Atlanta Hawks.
You can get your boy, man, Nate.
Yeah,
I like Nate too, man.
yeah. But
Man, get
Hey,
him out of there. Get him out of there. Get
you
him out of
crazy.
I
there.
think I got the Dennis Allen comparison for the NBA, bro. Alvin
Man,
Gentry.
Nate's so awful.
Alvin Gentry. Alvin Gentry to Dennis Allen. Great
Alvin's been
mind.
a good. Alvin was a good coach in the NBA for a little minute. Got the
Dennis Allen's gonna
Pelicans to the
take it to the
playoffs.
playoffs, bro.
Got the Pelicans to the playoffs. A team
One
that
time.
How many times did Dennis Allen get the Raiders to the playoffs?
Bro, Dennis Allen didn't even win 5 games, bro.
Yeah,
bro, Dennis
that's
Allen
not
sucks. Dennis Allen sucks. Like
trying to be
He's worse than Hugh
Brian.
Jackson, bro. He's
Brian,
worse than Hugh.
We could get a little league coach together, and he could go coach the Saints better than than Dennis Allen. Respectfully, come on now, like Dennis,
Hey,
like DB. If we keep it in a book, is Dennis Allen a one ahead? Speaking of Dennis, I think he's one and done as the head coach of the Saints. I think he is. I don't think no
bro,
way, and they would lose. The Saints would be the last to start in the NFL if he the head coach next year.
bro, listen, man. If they lose this game against Atlanta, man, the bottom will fall out, bro. Dude,
Bruh.
he's gone. If they lose against Atlanta, he's gone.
yeah,
Because if they go 4-14, he's out of there, man.
yeah.
But I wrote an article yesterday, I think. Yeah,
Mhm.
yesterday I wrote this piece.
Mhm.
I think the NFC South is going to be bad again next year. Because you might have that division might have 4 rookies at QB. Think about it.
Well,
Think
we'll
about
see
it.
with Ritter. We'll see with Ritter if
Yeah.
if Atlanta likes Ritter.
Yeah. I
And they
think
got 73 million in cap space too, Atlanta.
Hmm.
I think 2 teams will have it if they have rookies. I don't think Tampa. I think Tampa will get a veteran. I think maybe Carolina will probably draft a QB, and then maybe the Saints don't have a first. So I could see, but it'll have to be one of these guys. And I feel like after you get for the top quarterbacks, all the other guys are projects. So I only see the Panthers and the Falcons, and I don't see if Desmond Ritter plays good enough. I don't see the Falcons taking a first round pick on a QB. So
They
I
might
really
sign
see.
Jimmy G, man.
Say what?
I think Atlanta might sign Jimmy G, man. I
Maybe.
think they might.
Yeah.
That's an odd fit.
Or maybe trade for Trey Lance. That'd be an interesting one.
I want, man. Trey
I
Lance,
told y'all Trey Lance gonna be on a trade block. Teams are gonna be offering. They gonna offer Trey. I'd offer Trey Lance up. Trust me,
Hey.
because anybody can play in the Shanahan system. Like y'all see this, like
Oh, this is dope, man.
anybody.
It's dope. I love it.
Yeah.
DB
It's
like
better than
I think if he put Andy Dalton with Jimmy Garoppolo within that system, he's a Pro Bowl quarterback.
oh, he'll kill it. He'll kill it. They don't throw down the field. Everything is short to intermediate. Underneath.
For sure.
Hey, let me close it out on this, man. I came up with this hot take. I wanted to ask y'all this in the chat, in the group chat, but since we live tonight, I got thought about this the other day. It's a hot take. So Chris Bird, Texas head coach, got arrested, right? Suspended.
Yeah.
So the
Mhm.
chances are he's probably gonna get fired because
Yeah.
the backlash. We don't want you know how it is. He probably gonna get fired. Do you think Texas is gonna offer that job to Penny? You got they got it.
Stop it. Stop it. No, hell no.
Nah.
Can you imagine Penny doing this, man? The horns up, man. It don't look right.
Let me tell you that I can tell you a crazier take than that. I could see Shaka Smart coming back as long as he
Man.
has hair. Because he's
Hell
good with his
nah.
hair. Then Penny Hardaway leaving. He ain't leaving Memphis unless it's an NBA job. So that ain't happening.
You know what I think about that Texas job, man, for basketball?
It's a great
It's
job.
like the A&M job, man.
Yeah,
It's kind of like it's overhyped, man.
Yeah. I think Marquette's a better job than Texas.
What?
Yeah.
The Texas job is like overrated, man. To me.
Texas is a
Like,
top
it's
is a
not
top
hype.
5 program. Texas is a top 5 program in the league in the
Marquette
country.
has one of the biggest budgets in college basketball. It's in the Big East. It's a basketball school only. So that's why I think it's a bigger job. But Texas, because it's in Texas and the brand, you think it's the bigger job, but in reality, I don't think it
It's
is.
like A&M for football.
I think that's a fair comparison, but I'm not sure they'll fire Beard. But I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't coach another game this season, and then they decide in the offseason. But it'll be interesting to see. But there's that they'll probably give that to either another sitting Power Five coach, or um, or one of these rising like group of at these smaller schools. What about Mark Few to Texas? And I don't think he takes it, but let me explain why he can consider it. That base of Texas, like there's some good players out on the West Coast, but you probably could build a championship team just by recruiting Texas players
Yeah.
and the transfer portal. So that would be an interesting one.
Man,
Uh,
KD put Kevin Texas on the map, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but
man. I don't think it's just something to think about, man. Because
yeah,
they don't these schools got these big budgets, man. They don't care, man.
yeah.
They'll offer the job to Penny, man.
They will, but I don't think he takes it. I think the only time he'll leave is if he gets to the NBA, and it could be sooner rather than later. I didn't think he'll have, but if he keeps on having success, and he doesn't feel like he can win a title here, and a really good, and ultimately has to get offered a job. Like I know the last time with the Orlando Magic situation, he never was offered the job. He just used that as leverage, part of it to get Larry Brown. So, um,
What
and
if a
wishing Larry
what if
Brown.
a blue
So what?
what if a blue blood like Indiana had offer him a job?
Maybe I don't know, but like I don't think he leaves Memphis. Like this, he wants to build Memphis into a blue blood rather than leaving. I would only see him take an NBA job, and I don't see a team offering him a job yet. But you never know.
Yeah, got any ad Leo?
I agree with you. Penny's not leaving unless he gets a NBA job or he gets fired. The latter is is highly unlikely. Obviously extension. Y'all sometimes downplay extensions, but the man just signed a 6 year extension. He's not going anywhere. But I do think that it's not as crazy as you think. Like if you like, let's just say somebody like an Indiana, you would have to. It takes if Texas offered him the job, you can't be a fool to say who would be a fool to say he wouldn't consider it. Like nobody gonna be like, come on now. If these is Texas is. I know Texas isn't like the basketball school and all that, but hey, it's still the University of Texas. Like the Big 12, you finally getting the big. You want to go play Power Five ball finally. That's a way to get your butt in the Power Five. He thinks obviously he feels Memphis is a Power Five school in terms of basketball, and that's a way to get in there. So if he's offered the job, I'm not gonna be a fool and act like he shouldn't consider it. But I don't think he's leaving Memphis because I think one of the reasons why I think Penny won't leave Memphis, like, okay, this is not against Penny, but you know how Coach Prime left to go to Colorado? Coach Prime not
Yeah.
scared to get fired. I think Penny know he won't ever get fired from Memphis. I think he low key scared to go somewhere else because he could get fired. Do y'all
You
think?
think
I think
so?
he wanted. I think so. Like I think he's scared to go to somewhere like cause if he don't win in Texas, you get fired. If Shaka Smart, you see what Shaka Smart did? He got his butt up out of there. Like you was gonna get fired. Shaka Smart was gonna get fired. Like and we all knew that. So he said, you know what? Let's make a business decision, and I'll take my talents up north to the west. Marquette ain't finna let me go. So, hey, so I think Penny one of them coaches to where like I think he'll take a. If it were the NBA, I think he'd move it up. He'll move on from there. But I don't think he's moving on from Memphis because I think if he went to a bigger program and kind of underachieved, he knew the writing would be on the wall.
Shoot.
Hey,
Somebody gonna make an offer from something, bro. I think like a NBA team, man. Somebody gonna make that call, man. I don't know who it's gonna be, but it might be
Orlando
somebody.
Magic. Orlando Magic.
Land the
I
Magic.
think I like Jamal Mosley, but I think he
yeah,
should get more time, obviously. But if they don't get it together next couple of years, or Dwayne Casey in Detroit, like if they don't get it, if Dwayne have been there 3+ years now. They ain't did nothing. They did a darn thing. So he I think Penny would have to go to like a young team. I
yeah,
don't think yeah, like he would have to go to a team that's like rebuild like a Houston Rockets type of caliber. Not the Rockets obviously, but like a Houston Rockets type of team.
That's why I
Yeah,
think he would be a most effective team because somebody that it's kind of like a college team, a glorified college team.
yeah. But the one thing I'll say about the NBA, I think I'd be afraid if I was him, be afraid to make that league than go into a bigger college job because NBA, you give if you have one bad year, maybe, and if it has to be a really big disaster, they may give you another year, or they could get rid of you, and so it's such a risk. But I feel like if he was gonna go to the Magic, the time recently that he was entertaining, they were like, I don't think that he was like in the running, if you want to say, that would have been the perfect time. They had a young team, it was in a rebuilding job. Uh, I think that would have been the perfect time. But I guess if he builds more momentum making the tournament, to maybe if he somehow, I feel like the only thing keeping him in college is if he winning an natty. If he wins a natty, then he'll try to get to the NBA as soon as possible, or even
Yeah,
makes it to maybe a Final Four. He'll try to get to the NBA as soon as possible.
yeah. I don't think he goes anywhere, but they might. They could, depending on how that trial, shape out. They could possibly fire Beard and go somewhere in a different direction. And his name. I think his name would come up, man, on that list if they want to go in a different direction. All right, that's all we have for y'all for right now, man. Give us a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Let us know how you feel about the topics we talked about tonight. This is through Apple, Spotify. Give us a 5-star rate, leave a review. Also, check out strike7sports.com for latest content on NFL, the NBA, and much more. Have a blessed night. Peace. We out.